I'm trying to get the YouTube.
That's crazy. I think I know why.
Yeah, we've never had this issue before. You want to start playing the music though? Facebook is on. Maybe we should just rotate it for now.
I think there's a lock on it though.
That's mine.
Yeah.
A lock on what?
Yeah, the camera. Sometimes it goes to camera lock.
So you have to go to settings.
Yeah, something we're dealing with the settings.
Or is one of these things blocking the camera? If that's what it is, go ahead. One of these things is blocking the front camera. See?
How did that come out of nowhere?
But still, orientation
rotated.
is
Yeah.
locked. That's what it is. All right, I gotta figure that out. Let me see how I look on the camera. Go to YouTube.
Forever forward. Walking through life, collecting any and all data. Thinking what's useful to make my walk greater. I'm never too big to grant a small favor. I live in eternal now. No need to call later, my head's in the game. But sometimes the game is fixed. You need to call on God when them demons be on your six. Protons, neutrons, and electrons. In the world where the transformers are the Decepticons. Echelons and layers are subtle. Our vision is muddled. Reality bursts our bubble to keep us humble. Who's gonna believe in me when everybody for themselves and needs who but me? Sometimes my life is up and down. The irony of being lost but found. But nevertheless, they upward down. Sometimes I'm still curious about who loves me now. I guess I got to find out when I look around. Listen up now.
Life's about echelons. You gotta know why you're on your own. Promise to stay up, baby. Promise to stay up, baby. Life's about echelons. You gotta know what level you're on. Promise to stay up, baby. Promise to stay up, baby.
The same ones who slept on me, hardly checked on me. Toxic bonded through trauma, they threw a hex on me. If not related by blood, then by spirit. At what point does love play a part in this experiment? So as an alchemist, the earth is my lab. Plus a capitalist, getting that, this Birkin bag going duffel. I committed a felony, my worth was in trouble. I found only pet collectors who spread the hustle. I found myself abandoned, left for dead. Supporters couldn't fill a short bus of special lead. They can't want you to win, they in a race they self. What brings them closer to God is being saved they self. I digress, guilty of it myself. I self, Lord and Master, you feel it like Braille. Feeling compelled to wrap it up with the bow on top. This city ain't cold and windy, I put that on box.
Life's about echelons. You gotta know what level you're on. Promise to stay up, baby. Promise to stay up, baby. Life's about echelons. You gotta know what level you're on. Promise to stay up, baby. Promise to stay up, baby. Life's about echelons. You gotta know what level you're on. Promise.
All right, Adita.
Echelons, you gotta know what level you're on.
All right, EET. All right, what's going on? Let's get our manners in proper order. Who am I talking to and where are you from? You know, I see Nubi, second Ka, Ray, so far. So what Kaiti's name? Majudi. Jason Holmes, of course. Mary. Haven, Ra Amen Om, Denver, Colorado. That sounds like a new name. Maybe I'm wrong. I like it though. Kitty from East Orange. Is that LaGreta from Bakersfield, California? Okay, we at the other side. The West Coast, which some say is the best coast. Anybody else? She said, yeah, okay. That's right, rep your set. That's very African. Everybody's always proud of where they come from. Barna set from DC, all right. Somebody from Christine, was that Christine from Greensboro? It faded off my screen.
Might be on YouTube right
Christian
Oh, Christian.
from Greensboro.
That name is familiar. Or my Shechem Ra from Denver. What was that, Wesley? Ahasa, yeah. My mind be like, oh, what's the name again? All right, so let's get into the opening. Amatu in Panetir, Sawek Tuament in Panetir, Awu Dwalma Keti Pa Heru. Give yourself to Netta daily. Keep yourself for Netta daily. And may tomorrow be as today. We give homage to the Creator, who is like our Father and who is like our Mother, who is everything that we can perceive and everything that we cannot perceive, who is everything, yet is no thing, who comes to us in the form of the Neterut Ra, who is the light of the heavens, light of the inner planes, as well as the light of our lives, who shines the light for us on the path of Ma'ati, which is the path of truth, justice, righteousness, and harmonious balance, who comes to us in the form of the light of vitality, giving us the strength and the endurance to live and act upon that which we know to be true. Homage to you, the one who shines in and through us as a beacon of light for those who are blind to the facts of their place, their position, and their responsibilities in the divine scheme of things. May we be Ma'akeru, true of thought, word, and deed, to our highest realities, and in our moments of crises and the dark nights of the soul when it appears that everyone and everything has let us down. So it is, and so shall it be. Just want to say, Amen Ma'at.
Amen.
I think we got a few new people since we were praying and came in. You want to say those names out loud real quick? Yeah. Oh. Armin, you on YouTube?
No, I'm on Facebook. The only new person on YouTube is Barbarian, Long Island, and Niat in Philly.
CPA, okay. So Yiti, and welcome to the Communion Experience. This is your host and the Sip Biddy, Ra Sanku Kepper, Chief and Head Priest and Spiritual Leader of the Temple of Anu. And I'm joined in the room by our head, Hasedi Kepper, my elder, Sir Shep Armin Cow, and the guide of the righteous and respectful chat. We got Wepet, Ma'akra Nebin Ta. Of course, Hemet's in the place, but Hemet, once again, is on her sabbatical. She'll be joining us probably sometimes early next year or at her earliest convenience when she's ready. Also, I want to invite you all to the upcoming Feast of Sekhmet next month. So if you're interested in a night of okay. If you're interested in a night of ceremony with the good people of the Temple of Anu, you should come on out. And the only charge for the night, or the only order or the rule for the night, is to have fun. Could you imagine a holiday based off of just having fun? A holiday that we don't have to talk about surviving slavery or building the African nation, just fun. Because fun is the balance, because you deserve the fun. After all the seriousness and the hard work that you do throughout the course of the year, we all deserve a time to just kick back and just enjoy ourselves with each other in our own company. So if you're interested in that, hit us up on what's the website?
TempleOfAnu.org.
TempleOfAnu.org, and we'd love to see you all there and meet in person, because you know we always talk about the importance of meeting together in person. So I'm going to get right into the lesson. So with that being said, I hope on this holiday weekend you had a guilt-free, hopefully paid time off to enjoy time with spending with your family. Now I know that's a very unpopular viewpoint or opinion, but you know me, I tend to lean into unpopular perspectives, especially with some different insights. So let's talk about it. In this time where there's so much divisiveness going on, where people are forfeiting their mental and spiritual and physical sovereignty for convenience of technology and the advent of AI, I'm gonna always support being with family and loved ones. Because although we're together online, the schism and the gap between us and our connection is greater than it's ever been. So listen, people, as we get older in this legacy of ours, it becomes more apparent that our time here on this planet is short. So from my perspective, I'm going to always encourage you to spend more time with your family and loved ones. It is what it is. I know some people think that they don't need so-called Europeans dictating when we gather together. And that may be true, but the problem is when the Europeans are not dictating, or when that time is not being overlapped by whatever their holidays and stuff, people are not getting together. So of course I'm going to always advocate for spending time with family and loved ones. The people that are against it, they are right in their own right. But I'll say this much. I feel like on the other end of it, we have a plethora of wholesome comedic holidays that on our end and our vantage point, we feel like we're dang near begging y'all to come out to. And none of those people that are the most boisterous, that hate the system, the anti-establishment, we don't see them at comedic functions. I haven't seen them at Kwanzaa's. I haven't seen them at the indigenous rights ceremonies. I haven't seen them at Ifa ceremonies. Not to say that I go to all of them, but when I do go, I haven't seen any of the notables, especially the ones that's the most boisterous about it. So what it appears to be, the ones that so anti-establishment are not as pro-black and pro-African as it appears, right? I'm more motivated and inspired by who we are and what it is that we're doing and who we become and what it is that we're becoming, more so than the hate of the establishment and what's been done to us. I repeat, I'm more motivated and inspired by who we are, what it is that we do, what it is that we're becoming, more so than the trauma and the hate of the establishment and what's been done for us. Remember, the point that they're making, the hate is real, the anger is real. In spirituality, there's a such thing as, they call it justified rage or justified anger. And I will never marginalize the natural and organic anger that comes from contemplating our situation. You do the math and it makes sense. We have full right to be upset. But here's the caveat that I want everybody to take into consideration. That hate and that anger is not a pure enough vibration for us to grow and sustain ourselves from. That's all I have to say. That hate and that anger is not a pure enough frequency for us to grow and sustain ourselves from. Anger is not a sustainable energy. Anger is supposed to be a wave that comes across you and it moves on. It's not supposed to be a way of life. Anger is not supposed to be a strategy. That's why the most boisterous of that type of philosophy, they either die off soon, their health starts becoming poor, or they start losing energy to be quieter and quieter. And we be like, yo, whatever happened to such and such? Whatever happened to such and such? Is because all the anger burns out their energy, and you find out that they had so much hate for the establishment and not enough love to build something worthwhile. So now there's a lot of pointed fingers at us about our authenticity around our holidays. The people that's claiming the indigenous thing, people are questioning their authenticity around that. There's always questions about the authenticity of the Ifa. There's always question about the authenticity of Kwanzaa. So I say this, when Kwanzaa opened up a way, Kwanzaa pointed in the direction and gave us permission to tap into our creativity. Kwanzaa gave us permission to start gave us the right to rebuild, restore, and reconstruct. That's what we call in the Kemetic legacy, we call that Suruj. That is to restore, is to take something that might have been damaged or incomplete and restore it to a place, to a state that it was greater than it was previously. So now we're in a new season, people, and that new season is the season of receipts. So we can't talk about the greatness of, we can't talk about where the people of greatness and have a narrative of victimhood. I'm gonna repeat, we can't talk about being great and greatness and a legacy of greatness with a narrative of victimhood. It's time for receipts. It's time for moving in power. So now, last communion we spoke, or it was labeled Upwards and Onwards and Forever Forward. And once again, I always commend the Temple of Anu for always showing up, but I want to take a few minutes or moments to show some love to the righteous and respectful chat that I've grown fond of over the past 3 years since COVID, and we had to switch to this format. There's some notables that appear to be there every time. There's where we have Nubi, Second Kare, we have, of course, Jason Holmes, we have Tara, we have Yuri from Brazil. I don't know all the names offhand, but those are the first ones that come to mind. These are people that are not members of the Temple of Anu, but they're front and center with us as Nishias as the Temple of Anu, and I can't overlook that. That means a lot. There's of course, there's several hundred people that listen to the playback, and big up to them, and for reasons beyond my knowledge why they don't show up in live time with us. Of course, we want to see several hundred in live time with us, but instead of the numbers, I'd rather have the genuine. So it means everything when people are front and center with us. Every once in a while, we don't broadcast for communion. Like we have Hinek Ma'at, and we don't broadcast because we always like to say certain things we don't like to do ceremony online, and certain things you just need to be up in the building. So we always have this balance of teaching in person, and there's certain things you just have to be in the energy of. So I always go back and watch the videos to watch the comments in the comments section. And just several months ago, at Hinek Ma'at, one person, I think her name was Olivia. I think she's from the Bronx. I don't know if she's on. If she's on, big up to Olivia. She got left in the comment section of an older video. She's like, damn, the communion's not today. Oh, I forgot. It was Hinek Ma'at. She said she was dressed in her white to watch communion. I was like, damn, I don't even know if our initiates be dressed in their white to watch communion and stuff. So that was very touching, and that was very impressive to know that we have a building of a serious online following or support group. It reminds me of the word tepred. Tepred consists of two Kemetic words, tep and red. Tep is the origin of the word top. It means head. It means authority. Red is the root to the word redui, which means leg. So it means the word tepred is a charge that comes from the top, and that people are expected to follow. So I appreciate everybody that shows up when you're just front and center. It reminds me of the Underground Railroad with the great ancestor Harriet Tubman. What did she say? She said, I could have freed more slaves if they but only knew that they were still slaves. But what it reminds me of is she said, like she would say something like, if you want to be free, meet me in the woods at 8 p.m. When she said that, she understood the idea of tepred, meaning she gave a charge. And when she spoke, the person she spoke to, as well as herself, understood that 8 p.m. is 8 p.m. 8 p.m. is not 8:30. It is not 8:45. And they understood a solid understanding that you're going to get left if you try to come at 8:30. Talking about Master wouldn't let me get off or whatever, like you just got left, you might have to wait to the next cycle. So that's what we're talking about. We're at an impasse or crossroads in our situation. We talk about upwards and onwards, forever forward. We use the concept of Kepper, kept her in the dung beetle. The dung is made out of manure. So the whole point is time to get shit moving. There's no reason to cover the ears of the children. We're still PG or PG-13 here. We're creative people. So when I say shit, it's an acronym. An acronym is a word that consists of several words breaking down the meaning. So shit for us is simple healing truth, simple healing instructions that liberate, enlighten, and empower us. Simple healing instructions that liberate, enlighten, and empower us. So lighten up on that. So on another note, I want to shout out to the our family at the other side, Shrine of Ma'at, for inaugurating new priests for the Shrine of Ma'at. And understand, I have no issues with any of the other Kemetic organizations. I'm rooting for everybody. I want everyone to win. And you can understand how disappointing and confusing it was this summer when we were attacked by those other folks who we thought were our colleagues. When they said that thing from Omar from The Wire, he said, if you aim at the king, you better not miss. So they tried, and clearly we're still here. But I'm rooting for everybody. All I require is that you all or all the other temples represent the best of what it is that their system has to offer. Because when you do that, we all win. When everybody represents the best that their system has to offer, we all win. But when you have a moral failure or a moral failing, we all have to take the hit also. Ptah Hotep teaches us, I missed the page, and it says something about being blameless of character. There's another quote somewhere where it says, may my name be not made to stink, meaning you need to be mindful of your reputation. So none of us are perfect, but when people say your name and when they see you coming, they shouldn't be like, oh man, here she come. Oh man, here he come. You should not be known for a bad temper, even though we all lose our temper every now and then. You should not be known for being petty, even though every now and then we all tend to be petty. You should not be known for gossiping, even though every now and then people are guilty of gossiping. The point is, if your character is known for any of those things, then the whole tradition is in trouble, because people will be like, well, if something that is supposed to be so powerful and transformative, how could it sustain such people or a person of poor character? Mm-hmm. So the Ptah Hotep, the exact quote would be, if you're a leader and commander of many, strive for excellence in all that you do, so no fault can be found in your character. That's interesting, but that wasn't even the quote that I was looking for. The quote I was looking for that I was actually talking about was Kemmunion, the book of Kemmunion. If you have the Husias, page 49, second paragraph, it says, those who are blameless in matters of conduct, no words can prevail against them, and those who are self-mastered, the harsh are kinder to them than their own mothers, and all people become their servants. Let your name go forth, then while you yourself are silent, you will be recognized and respected. That's powerful. That's one of my favorite quotes. So on that, so to continue with the priesthood thing, we want to, like if I had my words that I could share with them, I'll share this, because we want to celebrate with them. In your celebration, understand that being a priest this is a lesson for the community. This is a lesson for all of us, the lesson for the initiates and our own priests and those future priests that's listened from both of the communities or all the communities on here. Being a priest is not a personal accomplishment. Being over here in the West, sometimes we get into this racking up diplomas and stuff that we could put on our wall. Being a priest is not one of those things that you could put to the side and forget about it and become inactive. Being a priest is a sacred duty. It's a divine and sacred charge. And being a Kemetic priest does not mean you belong to the world. It doesn't mean that you belong to the black community. Being a Kemetic priest means you belong first to the Afro-Kemetic community, the Afro-Kemetic worldview. Mm-hmm. When you're a priest, a Kemetic priest or priestess, let me be respectful, a Kemetic priest or priestess means that you're an official. It means you're an officiant. It means you're a highly skilled person. It means that you're an important person. Understand, priests don't have to know everything. If anything, the more appropriate thing is, what kind of priest are you? You're skilled in a specific thing. So we have a community. If you're going to be a priest, you're supposed to be busy leading in the community in all things Kemetic. You're supposed to have your hand in it to verify and authenticate it with your presence or your support. So if you're not leading, you're supposed to be officiating. If you're not officiating, you're supposed to be co-officiating and all of that. If the initiation is authentic as a priest, you're not there to save the, because people get into this evangelical type of thing. When you're a Kemetic priest, you're primarily committed to the Necharu and the ancestors, the lineage and the culture of your temple. Do I need to repeat that?
Yes.
As a priest or priestess, you're primarily committed not to the world, not to the black community, but first, primarily to the Necharu and the ancestors and the lineage and the culture of your temple. If we're doing this thing right, if you're doing the temple thing right, the head's right, the ket are right, your temple is responsible for pretty much giving you almost an all-encompassing lifestyle for the members of this spiritual community. And as priests, you're administrators of the Necharu and the ancestors and the people to keep that society in balance. So now, after, if you've done that and you've done that fairly masterful, then we could extend our services out to the so-called black community, the African community, or to make the world better. You hear that saying about what's the macrocosm and the microcosm. You hear the thing in business, you got to pay yourself first. Y'all heard of that before, right? Mm-hmm. Pay yourself first. In healing, you got to heal yourself first. Sure. So it doesn't make sense to become a priest or whatever and think you're going to save the world. We got to get our community right in our intersection and interconnection of community right. There's sometimes it tends to be we overlook that and we want to do great things in the world, and fine. Unless over there that's your charge. If that's your charge to do save the world and save the black community, the African family, fine, I totally support that. But the message that I'm trying to get here today is, this is a message for our priests and the priests over there, or any Kemetic priest, any priest in any system. I'll just put it out there like that. More important than developing titles and collecting titles, what's more important is your skill set. We need skillful people. I need everybody to ask themselves this question: what value are you bringing to the tribe? So in your quest as a priest or priestess or initiate or anybody that's trying to be a part of something, I need you to be clear. What value are you bringing to the tribe? Because over here in the West, we've done this thing where people think my value is just being born. Just because I exist, I'm valuable. You're like, no, that's not the indigenous perspective. You need to be bringing value to the tribe, to the clan, to the nation. Today, nowadays, business language, they call it brand awareness. What are you bringing to the brand? And we're going to get into the brand or the tribe or the nation. We're going to talk about today about how it's time for us to scale down. Business talk about scaling up and scaling down. I think it's time for us to scale down. Interesting enough, I actually question, can we actually have authentic spiritual initiations over here in the West? Because as African as we say we are, a lot of times we've been influenced by some wayward European ways, such as the reluctance to proclaim winners and losers. People have, over here they got participation trophies and stuff like that. It's hard to have high standards when it's become the norm to give people passes. Our ancestors were very clear about winners and losers. Being a winner or loser could be life and death in indigenous societies. Whether you listen to instruction and not listening to instruction could mean the difference between life and death in indigenous societies and authentic spiritual or authentic initiations. Remember, initiations represent to be reborn. They talk about baptism in the Christian thing. Initiation is the equivalent, I'll say, even more complex. You're actually going through a birth process. Everything about you has to be different than it was before. But over here, being born in Western civilization, there's the only, we're having this conversation where the students want the teachers to come down to their level. Oh, they talked to me, they yelled at me. I don't learn that way. The people all talk about, I don't learn that way, and don't talk to me this way. And not to say that no one's, purposely being mean to you or anything, but true initiation is cathartic. It's almost like a strategic trauma. Birth is traumatic. It's a strategic trauma that's causing you to come up and outside of your normal way of doing things. It's so cathartic that you're going to have to find several ways of learning and several ways of processing. So the teachers are not required to speak to you in the way that's best for you. You have to find other ways in receiving and perceiving and understanding the context and the content of life. Mm-hmm. So once again, I'm not saying this thing to offend anybody, but this is the hard reality. And it comes from just the evolution of human culture. The evolution of human culture comes with the brain. You have the reptilian brain, which is about survival. Then it grew into the limbic system of the brain, the right and left sides of the brain, which is the emotional system where you start placing value and sacredness to concepts of about or around surviving. And then you have the prefrontal cortex, and that's the baby. It's the newest of the brains and stuff like that. That thing that we call the white man science, that's a baby of the prefrontal cortex. There's science and there's the white man science. And like I said, it's the newest brain. Our ancestors had a prefrontal cortex, but if you understand it, when we say stuff like ancient and we're looking at our ancestors, there was a lot of groupthink. There was a lot of collective work. You'd be like, wow, how did they do that? Nobody was tagging up their artwork. I did this. Some who did such and such, like it was done by the collective. Everything was about family. Everything was about tribe. Everything was about nation. Now with the coming into the forefront of the prefrontal cortex, you have people talk about me, my, I ain't doing this, I ain't like them, I ain't joining nothing. We have these concepts like that. It is a contrast, but we have to learn how to resolve the split energy. So just like the reptilian brain hasn't gone anywhere, the limbic system hasn't gone anywhere. So the prefrontal cortex can't just rule by itself. It has to find ways to be in harmony with the limbic system of the brain as well as the reptilian, because all of them are meant for your survival. And interesting enough, everything is a language that appeals to different parts of the brain. So some of our contentions in society, such as the contention between religion and spirituality, everybody's like, what's the truth? The truth is what speaks to a certain part of the brain. Science appeals to the prefrontal cortex. Spirituality, music, and things like that appeals to the limbic system of the brain. So it doesn't make sense to want spiritual people to think scientific. We could think scientific when necessary, but it seemed like the scientific people can't have an authentic spiritual system if they needed that to save their life. You got to find ways to stimulate that whole brain, if y'all understand what I'm saying. So we have to, the prefrontal cortex is responsible for the concept of individualism and independence. So it has to learn to work in harmony with the limbic system as well as the reptilian system. Remember, culture is survival. So culture is survival strategies that people call a way of life. It's cultural strategies that's been designed to become a way of life. So it's still based off of that reptilian brain. We superimpose sacred rites and rituals around survival. And now science, we could actually purify and elevate it to another level. So this whole individual independent thing wasn't meant to diss the group or diss the collective. It was like to find a way to distinguish yourself and improve yourself so to bring value back to the tribe, to elevate the tribe. So we've lost context with that. So we can't talk about nation building, but then walk around and be proudly saying, I'm not part of no nation. So we have to go back to being mindful of resolving ourselves at a split energy. I hope y'all able to follow. So we have to bring it back to the focus of being motivated and inspired by who we are, what it is that we do, what it is that we're becoming, more so than us hating and hating what was done to us and hating the system. On that note, I would say I want to caution all Kemites from two things. I want to caution you about jealousy and envy. The other systems call that 2 of the 7 deadly sins. I want to caution you about jealousy and envy. Of course, everyone's ego would say, oh, Negroes is jealous of me, they envious of me, I'm so special. So not that others are jealous and envious of you. Are you jealous and envious of others? For instance, what did I say? It's about being motivated and inspired by what we do, what it is that we're becoming. But we have this thing in our community where people are almost obsessed with throwing shade or taking shots at the other traditions, especially Christianity and stuff. Like, we know everything we needed to know about how Christianity came from, what it is that we do, or just their tactics on what it is that they do. Like, it's really nothing new that's going to be groundbreaking that you need to hear to have conversations like that. So now we have to wonder, are we jealous of Christianity? Are we envious of Christianity? Jealousy is, just in short, jealousy is when you feel some sort of way about something someone else has or what it is that they attain. So I ask you again, are you jealous of Christianity, Islam, or all the other religions that are out there? Are you jealous of something that they have or that they've attained? Are you envious of Christianity? What is it that Christianity has that Tara says absolutely not? But Tara ain't one of the ones that's online with Christianity hating comments. And no disrespect, I totally get all that. To a degree, I support all that, but it's just a new time, and like every moment of time we give to that is taken away, building from what it is that we have to do. We just have to reorient our energy. So Christianity is not being pushed with force anymore. People are signing up for it. So are we jealous of that? That they're signing up for it, while in relative comparison to what we do, we're being largely ignored in the world while people are signing up for Christianity. Yeah, people are leaving, but in the overall thing, they still winning. Are we jealous of that? And what about envy? Envy is a further corruption of jealousy. So not only do you feel some sort of way about something someone has or attained, but you feel that there's something stopping you from having it, that you can't have it for some weird reason. Is that what's going on with people? Are they jealous and envious of things that Christians are able to do that we ain't able to do? So we talk about Christianity is weak. They have this half truth, less than half truth, but with the little bit of information they have a great global impact. While over on our side, it appears that we're overcompensating with information and we have little impact. Is that making us feel some sort of way? Is it make us feel some sort of way that who we call our master teachers and top scholars, they don't even compare to the lowest level of the pastors and preachers? Could that be a way that, a reason below the surface why people are feeling some sort of way in this hate and this disdain for Christianity? We know all the stuff from the past, but in comparison to what it is that we're doing, they're still up. So are you jealous and are you envious of that? It's a moment of honesty. I'm going to help you out with the conversation. The difference between Christianity and the indigenous systems, the Kemetic systems, the Ifa system, the difference is it's a different model. The Christianity has a global model. Inside their tradition, it teaches them that They supposed to teach, bring their truth to the four corners of the world. And they do that by hook or crook, honestly and dishonestly. That's how they get the numbers that they have. Their model is based off of conversion. Y'all understand? So that's not what we do. That's not what IFA does. It's not what the indigenous societies do. So the indigenous model is not global. The indigenous model is more local. You understand? It's about a local, natural worldview. So in the Ifa system, you're never going to hear the priest from the Ifa system say that the deities told me to take Ifa to China. That's only Christianity and Islam. They want to change the infidels to their religion. In the indigenous system, they have a worldview called a paradigm. So there's an Ifa worldview, there's a Kemetic worldview, there's indigenous worldview. So the worldview of indigenous people is local, meaning the charge of local people is to how can I live in harmony with myself, my brothers and sisters, in relative harmony with nature. And outside of that, I'm minding my own business. That's the world to Kemetic people. Us living amongst each other, not hurting nobody and minding our own business. It ain't about getting the people in China to recognize and none of that stuff. It's about minding our own business. What we can learn from our ancestors is we need a more thorough program now that we know that there's people out there where conversion is their model and that they could try to impose themselves on our reality. And we need strict protocols, severe protocols on how to handle people like that. That's the difference between our ancestors and us now, this time around. So when I say the local model, so in indigenous societies, it's about family, it's about tribe. And that thing that connects family and tribe is blood. And yeah, you could become part of it from being on the outside, and that's what initiation is for. So we like you, and the way of validating a person, if we like you and we could trust your character, is through initiation. So yeah, you could be tribe or nation or family by blood, or you could be by initiation. But conversion was never the model of indigenous societies. That's why our growth is not going to look like Christianity and the rest of those systems. And this is where we talk about what it looks like to scale down. We've been going too hard on a false model. It's time to scale down. What if I were to tell you that our model of nation building was a stressor, that our very model of nation building is causing us to be depressed because the model is too big? We study Kemet, we talk about upper Kemet and lower Kemet, but the fact is we're not in Kemet. We're over here in America and we're starting with less than nothing. So this whole model of unifying two lands over here with the people that's starting with nothing, just that whole idea of that is a stressor. And that stress is causing depression. That stress is causing self-esteem issues. We have Himet doing her work, I do my work. We're all doing this work, yet in relationship to our model, it feels like we're not doing anything at all. And with our community being passive aggressive, and they say in so many indirect ways, like they not impressed, you ain't doing nothing. Yeah, you did that, but what about such and such? So we're never doing enough to our people. So now we're walking around self-defeated because nothing, our best is never enough. So we come from these teachings that we're divine beings and things like that. And then you try to do the divine beings and your people won't even give you any support in it. So you start feeling defeated. So we have to redefine or even just look with fresh eyes. What's a nation? And a nation doesn't have anything to do so much with the color of your skin. That's why you see in Kemet there's different skin colors and phenotypes. That's why people are still arguing, was they white, was they Middle Eastern, was they black? It was a nation. And the things that bring a nation together is not the color of skin always. The things that bring a nation is a settlement, pretty much. It's a growth from a settlement of people that have common customs, language, foods, and beliefs. That is a basic definition of a nation. Or what's your nationality? People ask, what's your nationality? My nationality, I consist of people that believe what I believe, eat what I eat, talk the way I talk. It don't mean you got to be dark skinned. It don't mean you got to be light skinned. It don't mean your nose got to be fat or your hair nappy or whatever. It goes beyond that. So, what if I were to tell you in the old world, I'm talking about in ancient time, a settlement, a nation, a tribe. A tribe is a way of saying a nation. So a family, a nation, a tribe is a collection of families. A settlement was based off of roughly 70 people to 130 people. Did y'all know that? A nation could be as little as 70 people to 130 people. That relieves a lot of pressure. That takes a lot of pressure off of us. 70 to 130 people. Now, look at over here in America. They said before Columbus came, there was 500 nations. 70 to 130 times 500. So there wasn't millions of people over here in America. It still was vastly unpopulated, but there were 500 nations over here. 70 to 130 people. Now go to the 42 nomes of Kemet, 42 settlements that eventually became cities, towns, and things like that. See, the pressure comes on us is we be trying to have 3,000 years of evolution, and we be thinking we supposed to do that in 10, 25 years. So you see how our model of what we say is a nation is stressing us and causing us to be depressed or feeling like we're underachievers. We've also been spoiled by the models of Marcus Garvey and Elijah Muhammad. Marcus Garvey, when he transitioned, the UNIA was approximately 600,000 people. Elijah Muhammad, when he transitioned, they had approximately 90,000 people. It's a different era, a different time now. We're not going to get those numbers anymore. Why? Because back then, the teachings that Marcus Garvey were bringing to the people were novel. The teachings that Elijah Muhammad were bringing were novel. But Marcus Garvey was talking Africa, liberation for Africans. People back then thought they came from monkeys and all type. Their self-esteem was so low. So to hear such an eloquent man say such empowering things, they was on board. It was easy to sell. Then the philosophy got sweeter with the more, with the more science, Temple, and Elijah Muhammad. They said the black man is God. They were like, what? This is bigger than just Africa. We God? And then the white man's the devil on top of it. We could go around calling the crackers the devil. He's weak and wicked. Yeah, he is a devil. So that was novel. It was sweet. They'd be like, yo, I'm down. Now here we are in 2023. Nobody wants to be from Africa no more. They switched it. The black man's not God, it's the black woman's God. Then they switched it again and said God doesn't exist. So the whole system is imploded on us. So I say it's something that we could relieve ourselves of pressure from, knowing that we don't got to get 600,000 people. We don't got to get 90,000 people. Even just on that point, as eloquent and as powerful as the what do they call him, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, as eloquent as he is, he still wasn't able to get more people than Elijah Muhammad. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was not as eloquent as Farrakhan. Yet Farrakhan he wasn't able to take it past what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad done. It's actually been a decrease in their accomplishments. So this is nothing we're supposed to take personal. So go back to the 70, as low as 70 to 130. Now look at the growth of Temple of Anu, Shrine of Ma'at, and the Shrine of Jehuti Heru Nebhu. We're all close to 70 to 130. So in that indigenous model, we're actually doing okay. When you understand everything starts off as settlements. Remember, the 42 nomes were 42 settlements first. So why do we think we got the Temple of Anu or Shrine of Ma'at and Jehuti Heru Nebhu got to be whole towns worth of Kemetic people? Like, no, 70 to 130, we're right on time. So once again, going back to being motivated and inspired by who we are and what it is that we're doing. And the only relevant conversation that we're supposed to be having now is, what value do you bring to the tribe? What value do you bring to the nation? That's the only relevant question that we all need to be involved with. What value are you? Being black is no longer enough. As strange as that sounds. Being black is no longer enough. Yeah, you exist, and what? The African systems had ways of figuring out what your value or estimating what your value would be. That's what birth readings were for, to find out who you are, what ancestor you are that was returning. Initiations and rites of passage was ways to figure out how to develop that quality in you. So when you become a man and when you become a woman, you become a valuable member of the society, not just because you're a man or a woman. It reminds me of the movie 300. I don't know if y'all saw that movie, but there's the Spartans. Remember, it's about 300 Spartans going up against maybe hundreds of thousands of Persians. So it was a story about courage and going against the odds. Even if you know you was gonna lose, you're supposed to fight like you was supposed to win. You don't go to the war with the defeatist mind state. But anyway, they had a philosophy in the Spartans that when a child is born, if the child is not in perfect health, it gets thrown in the pit. So value wasn't inherent in just being a physical being or being alive. They saw it like, yo, this child is not going to grow up into a healthy adult, so he's not going to be able to help with farming or whatever that they need to maintain that warrior society. So they took the hit on the front end and threw it in the pit. Now, mind you, later on in the movie, they came across a dwarf, which is an anomaly, which is not supposed to exist in the Spartan society. They came across a dwarf, and he got practiced all his life to hopefully be a Spartan all his life. And he came across them on their way, 300 cats about to fight 100,000. He like, yo, can I be down? Put me down. And technically, they were supposed to kill him on sight. The leader humored him. He's like, okay, what's up? He's like, yo, I want to be down, and this is my dream or whatever, something of that nature. That was the thing. This is my dream to always be a Spartan. The leader looking like, all right, what can you do? And he rocking and saying, He practiced all the things that he thought he was strong at. But all the things he was strong at was not what was required to be a Spartan. And he said, can you put your shield up like this? And he struggled. He's like, he let him try it several times and he couldn't do it. And he's like, sorry, kid. And then they had to move on. And you see the dwarf, and the dwarf feeling is hurt. He's crushed because the Western society participation trophy. Oh, make everybody feel good. Like, nah. Then guess what? Later on in the movie, this dwarf, because he was so hurt, he went to the Persians and sold them out. So now you see, maybe there was wisdom at the beginning in throwing unhealthy, defaulted children into a pit, because this could be the possible future if they don't feel good about their place in the society. If you don't feed into their thing about their place, they could actually undermine the whole society. I don't know how I got on to that point. Oh yeah, let's talk about bringing value. What value do you bring? So your value can't just be because you exist. You have a gift. You have something that you're supposed to bring, not to the world, not just to the Black community, but to the society that you're a part of first. And as you build the society that you're a part of, that you're initiated into, that society determines how they want to help. It's layers. That society decides how it's going to help the Black community and therefore the world. So it's the macrocosm of the microcosm. So when we fix ourselves, we're fixing the world. We got to stop skipping over ourselves and trying to fix some things that's beyond us. I hope y'all able to follow that. So what values, so I do music. So, I do the Hessies. I started off in hip hop. So I learned how to drum. I learned how to African dance and stuff. So I brought value to this thing of ours, because before I did that, there was no Hessie. I'm not a singer. So I got Himet. Himet is trained in singing. So she brought her value to my value, so now we have good music in the legacy. Who else? I draw. I wanted to go to school for drawing. I didn't go to school for drawing. If you see the art of prayer, all the postures and stuff, I drew that. If you read the Wings of Kepler, a lot of the drawings inside of that, I drew that. Then guess what? I initiated Sa Naket. Sa Naket elevated because he's an artist by trade. He brought his value to it. So he did the cover of Art of Prayer. You see, it's a world of difference. That's, I drew back in the day. This is somebody that does it for a living. So he elevated the goal. He elevated the brand. He elevated what we the images of the Netru on the candles. He elevated the yoga mats and stuff. So he brought value to the brand, to the tribe. We have a man, Sanjetti, the sessionist Sue. I do Metal Netta, I write Metal Netta, I speak Metal Netta. My mental Rolodex of Metal Netta is better than some of the scholars. But this is what Sanjetti does. So Sanjetti resurrected and reconstructed through the spirit of Saruz. He reconstructed the scribal order. So he brought value to the family. He brought value to the brand. You got Kapesh. I do martial arts. I used to teach martial arts back in the day. He's a martial artist, a fitness guru, and warrior by trade. So he's reconstructed a comedic fighting system for us. So he's improved on the brand. He's brought value to the brand, to the tribe. Now I heard about something today. What's that, the thing they call us?
Us, the Mazurah clan deck.
One of the clans called Mesurah in the temple, that they got what is the game stuff?
It's a game deck, a deck of cards.
It's a game deck, a deck of cards. So they're adding value to what keeps us synergized as a community. Because as a community, part of your charge is to try to fulfill every possible need that it is that we have. That's why it should be absolutely ludicrous for anybody in our society to be feeling like they're lacking support on what it is that they came to the legacy to improve with. I can't forget, Mark were like, what about me? Not like that. Nah, she. So we had several yoga instructors, meditation instructors, everything. So we're building on the brand. So all that to say is no more talks about who's the blackest and who's more African to the next, or are we African, a copper color tone and all that. All of that stuff is old right now. It's no longer a flex to say that you survived slavery. We're in a new season now, and the new season is the season of receipts. It's time to get out our own way. It's time to open the way to see what the Netru are really trying to do with us, for us, and through us. It's time to open the way to see what the ancestors are really trying to do through us and for us. It's time to see the receipts of the power. We call ourselves a temple of Anu. In ancient times, they say that Anu were the predecessors of the people that went on to become the Kemetic people. Anu roughly translates as original people. We're the temple of original people. So there were people who figured some stuff out way back in the annals of time before Kemet as we know it. They figure out some things, and it went on to become Kemet. So things come full circle. So here we are over here in America. They call Kemet the jewel of the Nile. It takes millions of years of pressure to create a diamond or a jewel or a gem. Anyana Anvant said in her book, The Acts of Faith, it said, under pressure, are you going to be a marshmallow or a diamond? So as things come full circle, we're the temple of Anu. We've been under oppression. We're under great pressure, especially nowadays. It's a unique type of pressure the planet has never seen before. So we're under pressure. So will we be like the original Anu? Will we set forth something that's going to be great, just like the original Anu? Will this oppression, and pressure, will it cause us to be the jewel of America? So the only question we need to ask ourselves now is, are we ready to alchemize? And that's what we're talking about when it means upwards and onwards and forever forward. On that, I'm going to end the message. For those who want to donate, if you got something out of the message, okay, you could just PayPal us or go to what's the information again? Cash App, Temple of Anu. If you find some worth in this information, of course, take what's useful and discard the rest. I appreciate everybody for coming and sharing front and center this time with us, and it's sacred. And we're going to continue to build on it, not just online, but we're going to continue upwards and onwards and forever forward. We're going to do some things behind the scenes. We're moving forward. We're not falling back again. Even if we fall out of sight, we're not falling back. We're going all forward. So are y'all down or what? If y'all down, let it start with us seeing y'all at the Feast of Sekhmet next month, celebrating good things with good people. So we'll see y'all then. Or we see Baba Heru. That's right. I don't get my eye. Us. So So I thank y'all for your time. Dua tu, dua tu, dua tu, dua tu. That means much thanks. So until next time, be well, be strong, stay safe, and be dangerous. All right.
So I had to.
Dua too.
Mm-hmm.